The world. Today we have a full studio. Actually, we have half of what I thought we were going to have, but it's certainly going to be an exciting show because we're bringing information. Look, we've already heard enough, seen enough, and these are part of solutions. As you guys know, this is Sound Off with E.V.E. here on WLTH Radio, AM 1370, the region's choice, the people's voice, and of course, this is the best station in the nation for you to listen to talk radio, and this is one of the programs. And the views expressed by the host and the callers of this show are not necessarily the views of WLTH Radio, AM 1370. Remember that the views expressed by WLTH Radio management, owners, and sponsors, you know, we're all here to give our own opinions of what we feel, what we think, but you guys know what this show is all about, keeping it real, about real issues with real people. And we are going to discuss about real issues. And as you guys see, we have real people here in our studio. I feel so protected today. My goodness, I have all these gentlemen here, which you guys will hear their story. Back in the days, I don't think they were called gentlemen. They were called a lot of other stuff that we'd have to bleep, right? Well, gentlemen, thank you. Welcome to WLTH Radio Studios here. You're here live. And before we go any further, we're going to start about 10 minutes after. It's certainly a beautiful day. It's 6 minutes after the hour. And today has been I just came from South Shore, so I just got off the train. I had the blessing of working downtown today, and I love working in the city, but it was a little bit nippy in the shade, but the sun just felt just right. And hopefully you guys have started off your week the best way that you can, because remember, it all starts with you. And as I always say, blame no one for your own emotions or reactions. Take responsibility and accountability for them as well. Don't you be pointing fingers. And today I'm going to have 6 of you, right? Am I counting right? 6 gentlemen here in the studio that actually will say that they took responsibility and accountability for their own actions. And thank you for coming to the studio to our show today. Appreciate it, gentlemen. Muchas gracias. Thank you so much. We're going to hear about real stories. You know, we often hear, including today, how many shootings we have a day. There's always, every second that we breathe, there's someone dying or someone being shot somewhere in this world, somewhere in this country, somewhere in this city, somewhere in this county. And you get to hear about it in the news every day. Well, I'm all about solutions. For those that know E.V.E., I'm all about solutions. I like to bring solutions. I'm not going to just talk about it. I'm going to be about it. And the gentlemen that are actually sitting here with me, if you guys are viewing live here on Ustream, you guys can get to see them, not only just hear them, but they walk the walk. Once in a point in time, and they'll tell you when, they talk the talk, but they were on the other side of what we hear now, the gangbanging and the shooting and the killing and all that violence that we now pray on to cease and desist. But they're part of the solution now. They're on the other side. They're on our side now. And you guys will get to hear about it today. And I appreciate you guys are tuning in. I want to give a shout out to all those that are listening from Arizona, from Las Vegas, from California, from the Bay Area, the Hartfield brothers, from Texas, and anywhere around the world that's viewing us today. And thank you for following me on Twitter as well. You can also tune in and follow me on @OfficialEveG. And you guys will get to hear some great information about what these men are doing to make a difference. Now, we know that there's things going around the world, and I ask you, I plead to all of you to join me in prayer. You know that if you're following me on Facebook, we have that chain of prayers. Continue it. We need it badly, so badly, to the tune that our children don't even know what faith means anymore. Most of all, they don't even know what love feels like anymore, at least the right kind of love, right? Because I'm sure you can attest that you all went looking for love in all the wrong places at one point in time, right? And we want our kids to stop looking for that love in those places. And again, I want to thank you for coming on. We're going to start with the founder. Was it Patrick?
Yeah.
Patrick, I don't want to chop up your last name, so thank you for coming on. And feel free, there is, you have that extra mic, so, you know, this is brotherly love right here, and I'm feeling it, all right, guys? And I'm going to share my mic, and I feel so well protected by a Lake County Sheriff officer here. So don't you guys try anything, because he's right here. No. Well, again, this is Sound Off with E.V.E. here on WLTH Radio. The call-in number is 219-885-1371. If anyone has any questions, once you hear the information of what they're all about, and they're here to reclaim our kids.
That's right.
And that's something that I'm going to partner with you guys, because that's all I'm all about, is reclaiming our kids, saving our kids, steering in the direction that they need to be. Unfortunately, we can't really depend on their parents, on all the parents, because some parents are still being kids themselves. And I'm sure that you guys are going to share stories that will touch our heart, and that's what I want to touch our listeners' heart. Because, see, that's one thing that some people have only tick, tick, tick just to get you living. That's the only thing they have it for, unfortunately.
That's right.
And what I want to hear from you guys, and I'm sure you'll touch their heart, is to wake up that heart other than just a beat. That's it. Wake it up and tell us what you're all about and why are you here and the existence. And I'll start with Patrick first. Go ahead, Patrick.
Eve, I created this organization in 2012 because I got tired of burying kids that were 10, 12, 15 years old, getting gunned down for nonsense that I was involved in some years back. So I got together with other guys that are former gang members like myself and created a program called Reclaim Our Kids to go back there and mentor these kids. If somebody would have been out there to kind of guide us or direct us in a better light of things, we wouldn't have made some messed up decisions that we have made to go down that path. We can't change what we've done. We've done our time and so forth for that, but what we can do is help prevent somebody from the heartache of the loss of their child or going down that path, or actually draw them back out of that stuff.
Now, you are an ex-Latin King member, right?
Correct.
And from what city?
Hammond.
From Hammond, okay. I would like for each of you to introduce yourselves and what gang you belong to, if you don't mind me asking you, because this is being bold, but this is being truthful. And I don't beat around the bush. I keep it real, and I'm sure you guys as well, because by keeping it real, then we're not misleading our youth, but leading them in the direction that you guys are now taking. We can start over here.
My name is Isaac Maldonado. I'm born and raised in East Chicago, father of 7, and I used to be a member of Imperial Gangsters from 149th Street in East Chicago.
My name is Orlando Solar, born and raised in Chicago, and I was a former gangster for the Satan Disciples at 24th in California.
My name is Daniel Rivera. I was a member of the Maniac Latin Disciples in Hammond, Indiana, and also the Satan Disciples as well.
My name is Raul Colon, and I was a member of the Imperial Gangsters from East Chicago, Indiana, 149th Street.
Okay, and we have the youngest one of our clan here.
Okay.
He is from the Lake County Sheriff's Department, but what do you serve here, and where's your background from?
Well, I was born and raised in Hammond. The neighborhood I grew up in is the same one Patrick used to raise his sand in when he was doing his king stuff. I'm retired from the Gary Police Department. I worked 24 years for them, or 23 years rather, 22 of them in homicide. So not unlike Patrick, I buried more kids than I ever want to see again. And I am the Violence Intervention Project Director for the Lake County Sheriff now.
Okay. Well, welcome. Thank you, gentlemen, for coming. There's so much crime happening, and we want to say just in one city, but that's not real. It's happening in every city.
That's right.
We can't say it's just one city more than another, although we see Chicago more in the news than anything. And let me just share with you, as far as the faith part, there's 252 going on. It started last night at the Harris Theater in Chicago for all youth. They're giving away 200 tickets for free tonight to go on to 252.com. That's TWO, the number 5 and number 2.com to get into this. It's like a concert. It's a conference. Started yesterday till tomorrow, and that's bringing the youth to have faith and to believe in themselves in the way that they can understand, with music, rock stars, and what have you. There's a special rock band that's playing tomorrow. Mars, you recall the name? I know you and Emily know it, or Emily at least knows it.
I think it was called Hillsong or something.
Oh, Hillsong. Oh, yeah.
They're
really-
performing
oh.
tomorrow.
Oh, really? Oh,
Yes,
that's good.
so you guys want to be part of it, go
Oh,
quickly
wow.
get on the website, and they are going to perform tomorrow at 7 o'clock at the Harris
that's
Theater,
cool.
so you know what they're all about, right?
Oh, yeah. Oh,
They're
that's great.
real. They're
Yeah,
going to get
great.
to the point where you can't even get them.
Yeah.
That's how busy they are traveling around the world,
Yeah, they are.
performing for our youth to save these kids, because, as I said earlier, they're looking for love in all the wrong places. Now, each of you will have a few minutes to tell us a little bit about your story. Touch our youth and the parents that still need guidance, because there's a lot of parents out there that still need guidance, that still don't know where their kids go, what they're doing while they're working. They don't have a clue if they're in school or not. I'm really involved in the schools, so definitely we're going to work together to get you into these schools.
Right.
That's awesome.
Because just because we may have a blue ribbon school doesn't mean there's still some kids involved in the wrong places. If you'd like to start however way you want to start,
We'll start down there with Isaac.
start with Isaac. Tell us a little bit about where you come from and what you were all I won't say bad boys. You were just misguided kids.
Correct.
Okay, go ahead, Isaac.
Well, my biggest problem in life that I had, I believe, was drugs. I was introduced to drugs when I was young. I was about between 11 and 12 years old when I first started using drugs. Me personally, I don't like to put the blame on anybody. I had good parents. They weren't perfect parents, but my parents stayed together. You know, I know that's a lot of youth nowadays. That's a luxury that they don't have. We got too many baby daddies out there, not enough fathers. But I had a father. He's a Vietnam vet, and my dad smoked pot regularly. He was the hippie type. So I was introduced to drugs very young. I had an older brother. He became involved with gangs, and I followed right behind him. I wanted to be everywhere that my older brother was, and my older brother, he just recently got 20 years. I just recently served a sentence, and I got out not too long ago. It's been a long road. You know, I've did pretty much every drug that there is out there. I've had money. I've hit rock bottom. I actually had was part owner of a small business, a construction company, and heroin took care of that for me. I no longer have that anymore. By the grace of God, I sit here before you right now.
Amen.
If it wasn't for a good support group that I had through my church and people, family members that actually care about me, I probably wouldn't be sitting here right now. I'm fortunate, one of the fortunate ones, to overcome heroin addiction. I've been clean for 6 years now.
All right.
But it starts off small. People like to downplay the fact that, you know, marijuana is becoming legal in a lot of states and it's becoming a regular with the youth. But I mean, if you stand on the outside looking in, you see what it's slowly doing to our youth. And that happened to me when I was young. I started off with marijuana, and eventually that wasn't doing anything for me, and so I moved on to harder drugs, cocaine. Then it moves to crack, and but because of my character, my addictive character, whatever I do too much of. And I see that in our youth. But you see, the youth today, the difference between when I was growing up and what I see the youth battling with today is nowadays through media, through the radio, through television programs, they're faced with a whole lot of pressure. I mean, sex is everywhere. I mean, like I said, marijuana, it's okay to smoke marijuana nowadays. You know, you got these older guys in gangs, these older guys are sending these 13, 14-year-olds to do all the dirty work. You know what I mean? You have no structure at home anymore. I mean, mom's working, dad's not around, you know, and they're getting mixed up in you know, in this type of lifestyle really young. I mean, girls are maturing more these days. I mean, babies are having babies, and it's just growing so quickly. It's amazing to see it grow so quickly. I was put away for about 5 years, and when I came out, I was amazed by what I seen. You know, the smartphones were coming out when I went in, and now I see them glued to everybody's face. I see these kids. This is all they're involved in. You know,
Right.
is
Yeah.
it's the music, it's the entertainment, and it's they're led by what they see.
Right, right.
Nobody's leading them. The people who are leading our kids nowadays is
Those rappers.
rappers and Miley Cyrus and
Lord.
you know
Mhm.
this is what's raising our kids now.
Mhm.
You see,
Exactly.
versus me, I wanted to be cool. I wanted to hang out. I wanted to be wherever my brother was at, so I got
You
involved
want
with
to feel
gangs.
high like an eagle, right?
Yeah, I wanted to get stoned. You
Uh-huh.
know, but it's changed.
But you
so
paid
much.
your time, right? So
I
you,
paid my
you,
dues.
you paid your dues. Next.
Orlando.
Well, I grew up in a healthy home. My mom and dad, they were committed to each other in marriage, and they took us to church at an early age, and I'm the oldest of 5. The challenge that I had growing up was I felt like I needed to show to others that I was this cool guy that could do about anything. I felt like I needed to prove myself for whatever reason. So when I was introduced to this gang, I thought, well, maybe if I get connected into this group, I will be more well known. I think people would get attached to me more. It's not that I was lacking love at home or anything like that. It was, I felt like I was a nobody, and I thought if I'm connected with these group of guys, then I could become somebody. And what that did for me was it really changed my behavior. You know, I decided to be more rebellious towards my parents, and my friends were my gang friends. But little did I know that I was being misguided. I was being used. Anyway, long story short, one day I decided to prove myself, and I took a gun, and I went to attempt to shoot at a rival gang. And I'll never forget the day because it happened to be the opening day of the new White Sox park in 1991. And so anyway, on that day, I made an attempt to hurt some people. But by the grace of God, nobody got caught, nobody got hurt. But I did get caught. I did get caught.
That was a blessing.
And I thank God that I did. You know, at the moment I didn't.
Exactly.
At the moment I thought, here I am, I'm in trouble, this is going to mess me up for the rest of my life. But, you know, one of the things that I do appreciate about my parents was that even though I was rebellious and acting up, you know, Dad was like, you know, as long as you live in my house, you're going to abide by my rules. And our rules is we go to church as a family. And so I went, and I remember one time I felt like a conviction in my heart where I knew that I needed to change. I couldn't live like this. And I remember praying to God, a simple prayer. God, do whatever it takes for me to get back doing the right things, because I knew it was wrong. So when I got caught, I didn't understand it at the moment. So I went to the juvenile detention center, and I'm thinking, yeah, I'll be gone the next day. All my friends do that. They're gone the next day. Sure enough, they're talking about giving me 30 years in prison. They're talking about treating me as an adult. I mean, here I am, 15 years old. I had 16 counts against me. I mean, it was just a mess. And my parents, you know, I feel for them because they didn't understand the law. They didn't know what was going on. They come from humble beginnings. They didn't get this. But I was in that detention center, and it felt like I was there forever. I mean, I was there for close to 4 months, and it came to a point in my life that I felt like this ain't the life for me. But why am I here? You know, I don't. There was a change. Anyway, I told God, help me get my act together. I really want to prove that I've changed. And I'll never forget the day of my sentencing where a lot happened, and they decided to treat me as a juvenile because of X, Y, and Z. And in the day of my sentencing, the judge looked at me and said, son, there's something about you and your family, there's something that's encouraged me to letting you go, because not even house arrest will accept me.
Wow.
And the deal was that I was going to go live in East Chicago with my uncle to get me out of that crime area. And so when I left, I made a decision to, with the help of God and family and others, to walk away from that lifestyle. I met my wife in East Chicago.
I love that.
And from that point on, you know, I felt a call of God in my life. And now I'm a lead pastor in Hammond, Indiana.
Amen.
For Life Point Church on Kennedy Avenue.
Awesome.
And my heart is is to help kids not feel like they need to prove themselves to somebody. All they need to do is let God define you. Don't let people or situations or money or careers define who you are. God created you so that you could know Him and let Him define you. So when I heard about Patrick and what he's doing and his ministry, and I read his information in the Hammond Times, I said, you know what? We need to do this. We need to team up as a community. We need to partner together, and we need to love on these kids, because I have a motto. My motto is, I'd rather mentor boys than to mend men. You know? So if we could get these boys young and girls and love on them and encourage them, I think we could solve a lot of the problems that we're having today in our world today, because we really need men to know that society is counting on them for the future generations of our country, of our community, of our city.
That's so true.
And I figure, you know what, if God could change me, you know, and I was a nobody, God could change anybody. You know, I really believe that. So. Which
now you prove yourself that you are not a nobody. You are
That's
somebody.
Right. I am. You know what?
Right.
Hey, I have a wife. I have 3 kids. I'm in the ministry. I'm doing what I love. I'm connecting with kids, connecting with adults. And, you know, I don't have my life right. I mean, I got, you know, I'm human just like everyone else, right? But you know what? But I want to keep it real. And I think that's the thing. I think people nowadays want to know what reality is. I think this fluff, this fake thing is what's causing people heading in the wrong direction. But people want real. And if you're real with people, you know, my message is simple. Look, I took on responsibility. I decided what I did was wrong. I needed a change. God helped me, and He surrounded me with people to help me with that. And I think that's what this Reclaim Our Kids is all about. We're ordinary folks that we just want to love on people and encourage you.
Amen. Well, certainly we've got a lot of love in this room today. For those of you that are just tuning in, you're listening to Sound Off with E.V.E. here on WLTH Radio, AM 1370. The Sound Off number is 219-885-1371. And I have 5 great men here. Did I count right? Yes, right? 6, actually. I'm sorry. Well, I was he was the good one back then, I think. We haven't heard his story yet, so I think. Don't want to speak too soon. And for those of you that just tuned in and wondering, well, who are they? What are they here for? Well, they're telling their own story, how they got into gangs and drugs and violence, and they're here to reclaim our kids. Part of an organization that Patrick Sabatis, founder, CEO, has brought together. They're all, and I won't say if are you all ex-gang members?
Correct.
One or another, right? And we're hearing their story. Why am I bringing this? Well, you guys know that if there's a solution, I'm going to bring it on. And everything just falls into place, just like it's so ironic that they're here local. I'm originally raised in Gary, and I live in Hammond, and you guys could have been like right my next door neighbors and not know about it, right? But how it all happened, Robert Renteria, if you're listening, you know, shout out to you and from the Barrio to the Boardroom Foundation, from the Barrio Foundation, got to meet and talk to Patrick. Small world. But you see, you got someone from Aurora meeting Patrick, and Patrick not meeting me directly. You see how everything works?
That's good.
Everything happens for a reason. So this was meant to be. Because someone from Illinois getting to meet you to meet me, and here we're in the same county. How about that, right? So those of you that are just tuning in, we're listening to the real stories of these men that are here in the studio. But before we continue, we got a couple of commercials to play, so hang tight, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this.
Join the Pop on Violence Foundation on Saturday, August the 2nd, as we raise funds and awareness to support our efforts to curb teen violence in Northwest Indiana. The Pop on Violence Foundation 5K Walk Run will step off at Saturday, August the 2nd at 8 a.m. at Marquette Park in Gary, Indiana. Register today. Visit poponviolence.org or call 219-616-9248. Guarantee your commemorative t-shirt. Register today. Only $25 for adults age 18 and over, just $10 for those 18 and under. Bring your family and friends. Free family fun, clowns, refreshments, health screenings, and lots of great music. The Pop on Violence Foundation 5K Walk Run is sponsored by WLTH AM 1370, the City of Gary, Methodist Hospital, the Post Tribune, Ivy Tech Community College, Northwest Emergency Associates, NIPSCO, Gift of Hope, the Close the Gap Initiative, initiative. Register online today. Visit poponviolence.org.
Days Construction. You got a project to build or a problem that needs to be fixed? Have you been putting it off just because you don't want the hassle and expense of hiring a full-time contractor? Well, look no further. Days Construction, Paving, and Sealing will come to you with reasonable rates, free estimates, and years of experience in Northwest Indiana. You can trust Days Construction to get the job done. Large or small, licensed and bonded in the state of Indiana. Days Construction is the right choice for the right project. Come visit us at 855 Taft Street, Gary, Indiana, or call us at 219-944-1810. That's 219-944-1810. Days Construction.
Days Construction says, coming soon, the dirtiest jazz blues house, located at 4601 Milton Road, Gary, Indiana. Days Construction puts his money back into the community.
It's the newest, hottest radio show on the airwaves, The Hatcher Empowerment Factor. The Hatcher Empowerment Factor, hosted by sisters and attorneys Reagan, Rachel, and Renee Hatcher, discussing breaking news, local and national politics, the justice and injustice system, education, and much, much more. Listen live and call in every Sunday from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. Brought to you in part by Stella Shampoos and Conditioners. The Hatcher Empowerment Factor, Sundays from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. on the Region's Choice and the People's Voice, WLTH.
All right, welcome back to AM 1370 WLTH, the Region's Choice, the People's Voice, and this is Sound Off with E.V.E. Feel free to sound off, but we have 4 more stories to share here on WLTH Radio with some gentlemen. You are gentlemen because you're here with me. I don't know what you were back then. Lost, I think.
Yeah.
Kids that didn't know any better, right? Confused, yeah. Thought you knew better.
That's right.
You know, we all go through that. Yeah, I know better than you, Mom. Better than you, Dad. Sure, right? But you were only trying to prove something to yourself, and here's the end result of what really did happen. We have another gentleman here. Go ahead and tell us briefly your story.
Well, thank you for the opportunity, first of all. I just wanted to share what I think is relevant to our listeners, and that is a little bit about my own story. As a youth, I played sports just like many other youth out there. At the age of about 16 years of age, I began to turn to the streets and began to look for recognition and just be, just to get my reputation out there, just trying to be a part of something, I think. And I think that's important for our youth to know, because it starts off by just wanting to be a part of something. It didn't take me but 6 months. 6 months' time is all it took me after becoming affiliated, and probably less than that, probably in 2 months' time of carrying a pistol. And in about 2 months' time, I was trying to do both, trying to get recognition and respect. And it didn't take but a few minutes of time. Me and a few other guys traveled out to East Chicago. I'm originally from Hammond, Indiana. Me and a few other guys traveled out to East Chicago, Indiana to help support some fellow gang members at this time. And while I was out there, being someone who was trying to get some kind of recognition, I decided to take matters into my own hands, and I shot and killed another 17-year-old young man. That sent me to prison for a 35-year sentence. I did 13 and a half years in that sentence. While I was in prison, for 9 years, I continued to live the lifestyle, continued to dream a dream, if you will. I continued to think that one day I would come back to the streets, and I was still, I guess, pursuing this recognition. One day I would come back to the streets, and I would be if not the man, I would be somebody who was close to the man, if you will. And obviously, if I was in the gangs, it's not the man as the police, but the man that was in charge. I just want to be clear. And so while I was in prison, I spent 9 years doing the same old stuff. I was still hanging out with gang members. I was still affiliated. I was still just hustling. I was still doing all those things. Meanwhile, while I was incarcerated, I got my education. I got my GED, associate's degree, my bachelor's degree. So I was becoming an educated criminal, and basically is what it was boiling down to. Not long after I graduated from college in May 2003, I met a man around October 2003 who walked different, he talked different, he acted different, he just had a different perspective on life in prison. And so I'm curious, I was interested to know why is the same food that we're eating in here not bothering you? Why is the same officers in here not bothering you? Why is the same knuckleheads around here not stressing you out? And why are you so willing to talk to so many people? So I had to ask this individual if he had any problems trusting people. And so when I stopped him and I asked him, I said to him, I said, hey, don't you have problems trusting people? I see you talking to people all the time. And he looked at me and he knew who I was. I was not only at this time was I a gang member, but I rose to become a gang leader while I was in prison. I guess that happens over a period of time. You just kind of get the fall, it all falls down to you after you've been there longer. But so he knew who I was, and he was not intimidated one bit. He turned around and he asked me, he said, do you have a problem trusting yourself? And before I can get offended, he said, no, let me ask the question. He said, do you trust yourself to make the right decisions, regardless of the circumstances, regardless of the consequences, regardless of what people say about you or what they threaten to do to you? Well, at this point in time, the question became very real. And it's like a movie, because at this point in time I had to lock into my cell. It was 10:30 at night, and everybody had to roll in for lockdown. And so I went into my cell, and in my cell I had a roommate, and or a bunkie for anybody who's been in prison before. And my bunkie was getting ready to go home soon. But not only was he my bunkie, he was also a member of my organization at this time. And so he was getting ready to go to the streets, and I was getting ready to implement what I thought needed to be implemented in the streets. So my mind was fully active in gang affiliation. And so, but this question had just been asked to me. He doesn't know it. He's thrilled about the idea that he's getting ready to go home, and he's thrilled about the idea that he's getting ready to put down the things that I was implementing while in prison. But as time went on, this question began to affect me, and I had to answer the question, did I trust myself? And you know what, it took me a few hours trying to ignore the question, but it took me a few hours, and when I answered the question, it became real. The answer was no, I did not trust myself. At that point in time, I was both relieved and disappointed at the same time, because this whole time I had been leading people, but in reality, I was just a puppet. I was just making decisions that was satisfactory for them. They were not going to follow me to church if I had led them to church at that time. So basically, the decisions I was making, for you gang leaders out there, the decisions that I was making was based on the decisions that I knew that they were going to follow anyway. So there was, it helped me. It helped me. But my conversion didn't take place right then and there. Some time later, I don't know, about a month later, while you're in prison, you either have to get a job, or you have to go to school, or you're going to end up in what they call the idle units. And in the idle units, you only come out for time to eat and time for rec. Other than that, you're locked in the cell all day. So I didn't want to do that, so I took a job. And on this job, there was two people who were designated to the job area, and you were at their job from 10:30 at night till 5 in the morning. Well, it was me, and guess who? The same guy I asked the question to. Do you have problems trusting people? So this man he was a man who believed in Christ. He was a man who read his word. He was a man whose life also changed while he was in prison, and his life has still changed today, praise God. But this man continued to come at me about reading the Bible, and I was not very interested in reading the Bible, but he kept coming at me. Well, while I was in college, one of the studies that I took was religious studies. I also had a minor in religious studies. I had a minor in communications. So I said, okay, well, this guy wants to read the Bible. Let's read the Bible. And we went into reading the book of Nehemiah. When we read the book of Nehemiah, the story of Nehemiah, I'm just going to shorten that up. The guy of Nehemiah in the Bible had a responsibility to come back to his hometown and rebuild the walls of his hometown. And when he was rebuilding the walls throughout this story, God began to minister to me, and began to minister to me about the walls in my own life that had come down, that needed to be rebuilt, just like Nehemiah felt the need to rebuild the walls of his hometown. And I didn't realize all this time, when he had been asking me to read the Bible with him, that he was playing unfair. It was not only him that was reading the Bible with me that day. And so we read, it was that day that I gave my life to Christ. That was October of 2003. My life hasn't been perfect since then, but since then I continue to serve Christ. Today my life is different. Today I'm married. Today I own a business. Yes, I was convicted of murder, and today I own my own business, my own electrical company. So I'm hoping that there's some listeners out there today who maybe can relate to the beginning of my story. I come from a home that was stable. I come from a home of support, but I was attracted to the streets. It just took my attraction to the streets to change my whole life. Today my life has changed again, and it's because of Christ. And thank you for your time.
Amen. Thank you. Preach it, brother. I'm telling you, I felt that. Yes.
God bless everybody. My name is Raul Colon, and just like these gentlemen, I grew up and I started off doing drugs. I started off at 14 smoking marijuana and just hanging around with the wrong crowd. And then when I hit 15, I joined a gang, the Imperial Gangsters, and I just kept on and hit 17, went to jail for criminal recklessness. I shot somebody. And my life was just a mess, and I kept on and on. From marijuana, I switched to cocaine, started doing cocaine. After that, I started selling cocaine, and in and out. I hit 21. I started hanging around in the bars, and just like I was your normal bar drug dealer, just hanging out in the bars and doing drugs, hanging out with my friends, gang banging on the side, and in and out. I was blessed. Never been to prison. I've been in and out of the county jail though, and I was just blessed by that. But just like everybody else, I was just tired of it, and I wanted help, and I couldn't find help. And one day I just got sick and tired. I gave my life to the Lord, and I went forth. And then what the blessing was for me was before Reclaim Our Kids, I met Patrick Sabatis, and he was at the church where I got saved, and he never gave up on me. He just kept on. I stopped going to church, and he would just call me and encourage me, and little by little, I just started giving my life back to God. I stopped doing drugs, and now I'm happy. I'm married. I belong to a church, and I'm a member there. I help out with evangelism, and ever since I dedicated my life to the Lord, now I'm here because I'm sick and tired of all the murder and all these kids just going to jail. I have a heart for the youth, and I'm just tired of it, and I just want to help. Basically, I just want to help out. Anything I could do to help a child, a young adult, it doesn't matter. We just want to help, and that's why we're here, just to help out. And Patrick made this foundation, and we just want to help them. We want to back them up. We're tired of murder. We're tired of seeing these kids on drugs. We're tired of these kids in and out of jail. And not only our family members, we love all these kids out here in the streets. And we just want to help. We come from that background. And a lot of us do come from good parents. Not a lot of people think because gang members, their parents must be losers. That's wrong, because I came from a good family. It's the choices that we made, the drugs, and the drug dealers out there that influenced us. And the older gangbangers. But through God, He could change you. He could change your life. It doesn't matter what you've been through in the past. If you give your life to the Lord, and with this foundation that Patrick has, it really truly changes lives. And I'm here just to back up. Parents, if you want to see a change in your child, if they're struggling with something, we want to help you guys, and we're here if you guys need help. Thank you guys very much.
Thank you. That's awesome. Yes. And we all need to come together, and it truly is necessary for the village to raise a child now. Because it's no more like how our neighbors used to tell on us when your parents got home, right? We don't have those neighbors anymore. Those neighbors turn their back. They don't want any part of it now. You see how you see so many videos now on Facebook how they're beating the crap out of somebody, and they're just being spectators and videotaping it all instead of jumping in and saving somebody's life. Now it's like a freak show. Oh, let's all see, free for all. That's sad. It's like, are we really losing what we stand for? Humanity. It's sad. It's terrible. And so, I already see something working, something happening already. We have a caller, Patrick, so whatever you were about to say, pause on that one. Go ahead, caller. You're on the air.
Yes, good evening.
Hello, Doc.
The best program this year.
Thank you.
I mean, definitely, by far, the best program this year. And when you speak of that village, the village can be considered all of the people that your guest just pointed out. That's the village. Yeah, a lot of times we need a spiritual connection. Sometimes the village might not have the ability, just one person that can encourage you and say the right thing, because sometimes the village might be getting invested. I mean, it's not that I have to make a a big thing out of what everybody say about the village, but let us, in some part of this recognition, the village a lot of times we done went to crap that sent us that way. So since we done recognize everything else, now we're reduced to dealing with Almighty Power, a whole way of thinking. So, man, the best program ever.
Appreciate it. Thank
the
you, Doc.
testimonies that they have, I mean, it's levitating, uplifting. I mean, and man, we need a recording of this and just let it be replayed around, around the nation, so that
That's
I
right.
mean, these guys have been there, done that, and have came back from whatever journey, and
Thank you.
and they have become successful. But they had to read the word and be
Right,
involved with those, or in touch with those
Exactly,
that put
Doc.
a value on the
Sweetheart,
life-changing
I have 2 calls.
spirituality.
Thank you so
Okay,
much for
I
tuning
am
in.
so
Continue to
carried
listen.
away.
I have 2 other
Pumped up.
callers.
The best program this year
Thank you,
by
Doc.
far. Thank
Appreciate
you.
it. Thank you. Thank you. Go ahead, caller. You are on the air here with Sound Off with E.V.E.
Hi, Eve. How are you?
Good. How are you?
You know, it's so touching to hear these young men just, speak, about their lives. And because I know the last one that spoke, Raul.
Yeah.
I know him and I knew him and his mom and his sister and stuff. And his mom she's a dear person, I probably know the rest of them, but it just touches my heart that, that they came out of it, and want to move forward. It's such a beautiful thing, and I hope the best for every one of them, and for the rest of them that they want to save.
Thank you.
And thank you.
Thank you, Andrea. Appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Go ahead, caller. You're on the air.
Yes, good afternoon, Eve, and to your guest.
Hey, Courtney. How are you?
Officer Brent, Thomas Brent. What's going on, Tom? Courtney.
Hi, Corey. Courtney.
Courtney Bates.
Yes, go ahead, Courtney.
I can't hear you.
Go ahead. You're on the air. We're listening.
Hello?
Yeah, go ahead, Courtney. You're on the air.
Hey, what's going on, Officer Brent?
What's up, Courtney? I ain't been down Clark Road for a while to check on you.
Yeah, you need to do that, man. How you been, man?
I've been blessed. I'm even more blessed listening to these brothers talk about it tonight.
Just come on by anytime. You don't need no invite, man.
Thanks, Courtney.
Take care of yourself, man. Keep your ear to the ground, your eyes open, man. Never go the way you came, man.
Keep praying for us.
Take care of yourself, man.
Thanks,
Courtney.
Thank you.
Appreciate you listening. Those of you just chiming in, you're listening to Sound Off with E.V.E. here on WLTH Radio AM 1370. This is the Region's Choice, the People's Voice, and the calling number is 219-885-1371. And we're going to hand the mic back to the CEO, founder of Reclaiming Our Kids. Go ahead.
Eva, thank you. A little bit about my background. I grew up in a dysfunctional family. Dad was an alcoholic. My mom was involved in some other nonsense too, and the Latin Kings were in the neighborhood that I grew up in. And when you have that broken down household, you start to see the cookouts and the family factor, and you get drawn in that because of the background that you're experiencing. You go down that path, and yeah, that's a decision I made to go down that path, but that's what was available to me, or that's what I seen and wanted to be a part of, and they took me in like their own, and it became that sense of stability in my life. And some were like, well, that's not stability. You're right. But at that moment, as a child, you don't know the difference on that. And a lot of times when they see kids that are shot down because of gangs right off the bat, they are like, oh, that's just another statistic, another gang member, forget it. But why did they go down that path? Why did they make the decision to go down there? And I think a lot of times in society we dehumanize the young kids that are involved in gangs and just dub them as a title or a mere label, but they're still a child. They're still a young man or a young woman.
That's right.
And me coming away from that stuff, well, I grew up dysfunctional. I started smoking weed and doing acid and pills, and started getting involved in gangs and going on missions, some type of criminal activity, and all my cards crumbled down, and I ended up doing a total of 3 years, both jail and house arrest. And when there was a block party going on, there was a church at a block party, and it said free food, and I figured, hey, why not go and eat free food? I don't got to pay for it. When I was sitting at the table, there was a gentleman. He's still a former Latin King today. He came and started talking to me and said, you don't have to settle for this environment. You're not going to settle for this lifestyle. And there's a different path. And a lot of people told me that too. But for this time in my life, because he's come from what I was going through, it actually made sense in my life that I don't have to settle for this no more. That the horizon's larger than this mere block or this nonsense that I was involved in. So I started getting my head on right and going to a better path and changing my life around. And when I changed my life, I got my head on right. I surrendered my life to Christ. From a young man that was going to be pawned off to trade winds for emotionally handicapped kids by my own parents, to be on a platform and travel internationally as a missionary to speak to kings and dignitaries of countries in Africa is tremendous. So as far as somebody saying that this is my environment or this is how I grew up or the cards that were dealt to me in life, is just a mere excuse. If you truly surrender your life and want to get your head together, that it's possible. That's why I created the Sebatis Educational Institution, got together with these guys and other business people and created Reclaim Our Kids. Because if there's a lack in the house or the parents don't know how to really kind of rear their children or guide their children, that's why we created this mentor program, to begin to pour our life into the relatability because we understand the turmoil, but also to show them, hey, we've been there, we've gone through the turmoil, but we're successful. Whether business leaders or parents or family members, ministers, business owners, that you can do anything in life. And that's why we continue to go on. We've got the solution for all this nonsense that's going on. And I appreciate you allowing us to share about our organization and what we do, because more people have got to realize something, that there is a solution out there. Because when we're on the radio right now today sharing this, it actually is decreasing the fear and the hand that these various gangs have on their community, to allow them to realize, hold on, if they are willing to come out and change their life and willing to go out there and say, hey, listen, I've been there, I've done that, and we're going into these territories and drawing these kids out of that nonsense, it decreases that fear, and that's what's exciting about it. And you know, these are just a few of the men that are with me. There's other women as well as others that weren't able to make it today, that are mentors and pour their life in every day. And we're looking for other people that have come away from that and want to share and want to change their life and pour into others. Hey, you know, they can check us out at, reclaimourkids.com and sign up to become a mentor. And also business leaders that want to kind of show these kids that there's something larger than the horizon they see every day or on that stoop when they look in their neighborhood. Or if they want a mentor, they can come on that mentor page and fill out that application and go through that process to get plugged in, to begin to pour out. Because the more people that are mentors, the more people that begin to pour out and come from that, these kids begin to listen and say, you know what, if they can do it, I can do it.
That's right. And that's the thing, that they don't believe enough in themselves to know that if it is to be, it is up to me. And I've gone into the classrooms and I've seen these children, and I feel for them because they feel that no one's listening to them, that they are a nobody. And I see it. When I go into these classrooms, or when they first get to meet me, you know, they don't want to listen to me. They don't want to know me. They're just looking and shaking their head and just, yeah, you don't know any better, talk to the hand, all those gestures that I'm sure you guys once did when you were on the other side. So I'm glad that you guys are doing this, because these kids need someone to look up to. These kids need someone to listen to them. Now, on the other side, the juvie, the correctional facilities, the police, the law enforcement, not that I'm downing the law enforcement, but when I go to juvie, when I look at the policies from the schools, all I see is a form of punishment. Okay? And that is not the solution, because all we're doing is steering them into where you guys were involved, into drugs, into gangs, into violence, because they're going to punish me anyway. Might as well have fun doing it. Because if you look at the policies in the schools, if you did X, Y, and Z, this is what your punishment is detention, suspension, expulsion. All of that is not a solution to your life, is it? They're not showing you how to make it work. I think that if I'm going to be locked up in 4 walls, is that showing me how to improve my life, how to become a better student? No. I don't think so. If I'm going to be locked up in juvie for 30 days because I smoked pot and then I got into a fight, is that going to bring the solution to help me become a better person, a better human being? I don't think so. And now we can't even use the word God? That's the biggest issue, that you guys have all found what's missing in our schools, in our family kitchen tables, is prayer, is God. You with me?
Absolutely.
Exactly. So what you guys are doing is you're actually emphasizing that. I heard every one of you saying you found God. You have faith in yourself. You believe in yourself. And that's what I tell my kids. That's what I tell any child. If it is to be, it is up to me. It starts with you. Whatever you want to be, you can do it. Don't let some stranger tell you that you can't. Unfortunately, there are families, there are siblings, there are parents that tell them, you ain't going to do this, you're not going to ever be able to do that, you're just a nobody, and they get to believe that. And so that's the world that they only know. And then when they get in trouble, there goes somebody else who says, well, Johnny, guess what? I'm going to lock you up. They put you in your handcuffs, and there you go, lock you away. Was that a solution? That poor kid was screaming, help me.
From the get-go.
I need somebody right now. No one's listening to me. And that's what I see in the kids when I go to the schools that I've been invited to go and talk to them and saying, you know what, I'm going to listen to you. And then they get to like who I am, why I'm there, because I'm listening to them. And they look at the teacher, and the teacher listens to their stories, and they're like, oh my God, now I know why she's always late. Now I know why she's always got attitude. Now I know why she or he is falling asleep at my desk. Because they're babysitting their own kids, their own siblings, they're taking care of them, they become the parents now, or they're hungry, or they're homeless. But because we never take the time to hear or get to the root of the problem. And you guys are working the root of the problem. Now let's get to the law enforcement. Go for it.
Well, I don't like the label of law enforcement because...
Oh, okay. That scares people, right? We're supposed to come to you, not be afraid of you.
Well, I serve a dual role. I've had to put some very violent people away because they've done some very horrible things. But my ministry is not unlike Patrick's and these gentlemen's here. I've never had to go looking for God because I never let him get that far away from me. So the things I've been through in these streets, I pray in the morning and I pray at night because everything is much larger than we are. The devil's running loose around here.
Yes. Oh, Lord.
But the common denominator with these brothers here is God. We've taken him out of the schools. We've taken him out of everything. You can't use his name, and then one day he's going to sit back and say, you didn't need me. But he's not going to do that because he's a forgiving God. So I'm out here every day. I'm in the most at-risk neighborhoods that can possibly be worked in, and I'm all by myself, me and the man upstairs. And when I go and put my arm around a kid, his first instinct is to jerk away because he doesn't know what love feels like. He doesn't know the touch of a father. And I understand the things. I hate to see him go away to jail. Sometimes they have to because they're just completely out of control. We had a homicide first thing this morning at 11th and Chase Street. I have worked so many death investigations in 24 years here. It's incredible. And the last thing I see from a lot of these young brothers and sisters is the light going out in their eyes. I'm the last thing they're holding on to. And I can't do anything for them but pray for them. And it is so heartbreaking, and I'm not giving it up. I'm 63. I'll be 64 in October. I'm not ready to give this stuff up yet. So I'm not the big bad wolf. I can be the big bad wolf.
That's right. He'll tell you when.
But I formed an alliance with Patrick and these gentlemen here, and we're going to work together with the kids. The kids won't respond to a lot of the things I say, and some of them will because I'm older, I'm grandfatherly, and I think I can show some genuine love for them. So I'll go into the churches, schools, and civic organizations and talk to kids about gang consequence. And these guys can speak from the very essence of what it did to them. So I'm getting wound up, so I better back down here.
Well, you know, I got you wound up, and I'm all wound up too. So stay tuned for part 2 later, right?
That's right. That's good. That's
To
good.
show where you've been and to show the changes of lives that you have touched, because one person can make a difference. I've seen it. I know it. Someone can't tell me otherwise. I mean, I'm seeing it here. I've been there, done that too, as in changing somebody's life, making a difference in a child, and we need us like yesterday. We have a caller. Go ahead, caller. You're on the air. Go ahead. You're on the air.
Yeah, let me make a quick
Yeah, real quick, Courtney.
Hey, Tom, you know my story, man, right? I lost 2 to murder, my boys, you know what I'm saying?
I remember,
and
Courtney.
And in the kitchen sink, you know what I'm talking about?
Yes, sir.
You know, and you said, so you got to make the punishment fit the crime. And far as I know, these individuals, you know, had been brought to, you know, to justice as of yet, man. And I'm talking about 1 in 90 and 1 in 07. You know what I'm talking about? You know what I'm saying? So,
yeah, I'm well aware of that, Courtney. You just got to keep praying on it, because you know the streets aren't going to give up a killer without something back.
I appreciate what you're doing. The program been about guys stepping up, you know, and being mentors and whatnot. Because you know this is what I do, man. I've never stopped doing it. Probably, you know, it put me away doing it because I'm a soldier, just like yourself, man. You know,
I know you got a heavy heart. I know what you went through on Chase Street over there.
I'm gonna tell you something, man. But you know, some of them, man, it's like this here, Tom. You know. A dog or cat can have a litter, man. You know what I'm talking about? But I don't care how much your school teacher, man, all of them ain't gonna make it. Some gonna slip through the cracks. So this helps me deal with my situation. But I'm still out here, man, you know, on the front line, you know, doing what I can do, man, you know, to turn them around. You gotta talk to them instead of talk at them. Put your arms around them. I understand it, but some of them, man, you just ain't no getting to, man. They're too far over the edge. But, you know, you're doing a good job, Tom, and whatever I can do, you know where I'm at, man. Somebody like to talk with you, Tom. We've got something to talk about, man.
Okay, Courtney, thank you.
Thank you, Courtney. We are running out of time, and this is just a heated up conversation going on here. We have the power of God working right now here in WLTH Radio Studios. Real quick, give us the contact information for anyone that wants to get involved or needs a child to be mentored. Please let us know.
They can go to reclaimourkids.com and also reach out to us at 888-966-0850.
And also for the Violence Intervention Program, what's the contact information?
Eve, I'm in the street all the time, so if someone wants me to talk to their community group, church, or any organization, just email me at tbranson@lakecountysheriff.com, and I'll be there with a quickness.
Well, most definitely, we're going to get you guys busy. Thank you so much for coming on. This is Sound Off with E.V.E. here on WLTH Radio, the Region's Choice, the People's Voice. And remember, I'll be back tomorrow at 6 o'clock. Thank you, everybody, for joining us today. Hope that you've enjoyed, but more than anything, learn something from today and share it. Take it. Don't just keep it with yourself. Share what you know, share the knowledge, and don't die empty. Got to give it what you have.
That's right. That's good.
You guys be safe. Have a great evening. If you must drink responsibly. Get a designated driver. But more than anything, respect yourself and you love yourself so that others can do the same. You guys have a blessed evening.